win in the Speedvision GT Championship season opener at Mosport.
We knew that we were coming into this series stronger than last year. We've done a lot of testing over the winter, a lot of new improvements to the car.
Besieged with trouble and bad luck from the outset of round one, Archer managed to turn a difficult start into a surprise finish.
At one time, we were hoping just to start the race, and to come away with a win was just real special.
With Cooper's clutch problem, Archer stole the win, but the Rock will provide yet another tough challenge.
We're going to be strong right away, but with Chevrolet's involvement, I expect them to be right there. Of course, you got guys like Bill Cooper and Pete Halsmer, they know their way around this place. I think, racing with these guys for the whole year, you're going to have to go a whole year without making a mistake. You got to finish the races, and all that prize money at the end, that bonus, everybody's shooting for that, including me.
Welcome to round two of the Speedvision GT Championship here at beautiful Lime Rock Park. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer along with Dorsey Schrader. And at Mosport, we talked about the need to get a car through 3 consecutive weekends of racing, how tough that is. And Dorsey, on top of it, you go from Mosport now to Lime Rock. They seem similar, but they're really not.
Yeah, you're right about that, Greg. They're about opposite, actually. When you look at Mosport, long straightaways, emphasis on top end, big horsepower track. Here at Lime Rock, though, there isn't any straightaways. It's kind of like a backward oval. You go right all the way around here, only a mile and a half, one left-hand throwaway corner. You better have a car that handles good. So these mechanics have had to rebuild the cars, get them all set for round two. We'll see what happens.
Well, and again, Mosport, 2.5 miles in length. Here it's only a mile and a half, which keeps things very busy indeed. Now, this series continues to develop, and some newcomers have shown up here at Lime Rock, and as it turns out, they are fast. Joining us in the pits this weekend is John Bizignano and Calvin Fish, and Calvin is standing by with one of those newcomers who maybe has a little home track advantage. Cal?
Since 1991, Rick Dilorio has waited for the time and opportunity to show his stuff here at his home track, Lime Rock Park. And in 1991, he led briefly before dropping to 6th, and since that time, a myriad of problems have really thwarted his challenges. But here this weekend, Rick, has really come together for you, starting from the pole position.
Yeah, I wanted to thank the Danielson Ford crew for helping us get here. Andy's stuck with us, the Danielson Ford team, stuck with us since '91. So let's hope we can keep it out in front, and I'm going to drive as fast as I can, a whole 45 laps.
Well, this gentleman is the lead instructor for the Skip Barber organization with thousands of miles around this racetrack. But another surprising qualifying was on the front row also, and having that story is John Bizignano.
Well, thank you, Calvin Fish. Peter Kickjack and his team had a miserable race up in Mosport just 7 days ago. They've constantly worked on this car to get it ready for Lime Rock. All kinds of handling and motor problems up in Canada. But, Peter, this front row qualifying, how sweet it is to put this car on the front row for your hard-working team.
Yeah, the guys have done just a great job this week. We were off the pace a little bit at Mosport. We had some problems. They worked round the clock. They got the speed that we need. We had to put a new motor in again last night, and we're ready to go and excited to be here.
Well, the only thing sweeter than this front row qualifying would be a win.
Thanks, Biz and Dorsey. It's time for our Toyota track map. And this track, 1.5 miles in length, one big passing zone.
Busiest racing track in North America, 1.5 miles. They lap in under a minute. Now, turn 1, 2, 3, very tight, not a lot of room for passing. That's the key of the game right here, getting by people cleanly. Uphill turn is called turn 4. West bend, long turn, turn 5, then the diving turn. One of the scariest turns of all racing. Long, bumpy front straightaway. Best passing opportunity probably goes into going into turn 1.
It is going to be an awesome race. Traffic. This is a big field. Field just about to roll off. And, of course, in this race, in the Speedvision GT Championship, we have the Speedvision Legends of Motorsport car. And our legend this week is Derek Bell. He's going to be providing commentary throughout the race. Let's go down to Derek. Derek?
So this is the second round of the Speedvision World Challenge this week from Lime Rock. And unfortunately, we're starting from the very back of the grid. Not the ideal place. In fact, I felt I should go the other way around the track, but they do tell me there's a better class of people back here. Unfortunately, Mosport, we had no problems whatsoever, apart from a very, very hard brake pedal. And here we've had brake problems, clutch problems, and diff problems without I even did more than a lap or so. So we do have a few problems. But I hope it's all right now. The guys have been working very hard to get the car ready.
We'll hear more from Derek as the race unfolds. We'll be right back with the start. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Mario Andretti, and you're watching Speedvision.
The Speedvision GT Championship is brought to you by BMW. Find true love. See the complete line of BMWs at your BMW Center. And by Sears. Come see the many sides of Sears.
Welcome back to Lime Rock. The pace lap is underway. Let's take a look at our BMW starting grid. On the pole, a surprise, or is it? Rick Dilorio, local instructor here from Acton, Mass, has pole with Peter Kitchik in the Porsche alongside. Row 2, Bobby Archer, your point leader in the Viper, and Bill Cooper, who led much of that race in Mosport, in the Vet. Row number 3 is George Biscup, bit of a revelation this season in the Porsche, and Pete Halsmer, one of the best in his Acura. Row 4, Dave Schardt in that Toyota Supra Turbo, and Peter Tonelli in the Toyota Supra Turbo. Row 5 is Reese Cox and John Heinricy. Row 6, Scotty White and Gary Smith. And Dorsey, as we take a look at the rest of the field, and it is a good one. Rick Dilorio, you know, he knows this track incredibly well.
Yeah, he's an instructor for Skip Barber. Skip Barber owns this racetrack, and you get millions and millions of miles around this, and there's no substitute for lots of miles on a racetrack.
Especially a track like this, which, while it would appear easy when you look at it, is anything but fairly technical little track. Let's take a look now at our onboards, and we've got a bunch of them for you. This is on board with Peter Kitchik, your second qualifier. There's Dilorio up front. We're also going to be on board with Bobby Archer in that very fast Viper. And it's going to be interesting, this next on board, Bill Cooper had problems at Mosport. They've struggled a little bit here. We'll see how he holds on. Then we're going to be on board in the Acura with Pete Halsmer. And, of course, he is qualified back in the 6th spot. Then we are going to be on board as well the Toyota Supra with Dave Schardt. And this car continues to develop. A brand new program is Scotty White, the Corvette C5. And, of course, our legend, Derek Bell.
1 hour of racing here from Lime Rock Park, this beautiful racetrack in the middle of Connecticut, one of the most picturesque circuits, only 1.5 miles round, but a beautiful little circuit. I only raced here really in the Löwenbräu Porsche and the Momo Nissan I raced here. A great little circuit, very demanding physically on the driver, and pretty dangerous too.
Dangerous, and certainly, Doris, not a place you want to be starting on the last row with a quick car.
Well, it's an undeveloped car, and he's got problems, so maybe the last row is not a bad place as he brings up the opposite end of the pole. We got camera cars all through the field, most of them right in the front, but Derek's got the best view of the action from right where he sits.
No, it should be intense. Boy, Dilorio bringing him up very slowly here, but that's a big torquey V8, and he wants to be able to jump on it. Yeah, and there's the green.
Look who jumped first. It was Archer who had made the first move. I saw the front of the Viper hood come up. Big horsepower there, too.
Not quite enough, though, as remarkably Kitchik hangs on in that Porsche. Had to have that turbo spool up, made it work. He's second, then Archer, then Cooper in the Vet. So that's the way they cycle through that first turn. Dilorio should be fun to watch. I mean, that's a heavy car. Good, certainly, on one lap where you can just stand on it, but it carries weight, which means tires, brakes, all little suspect.
You're absolutely right. You look on board right now, Bobby Archer taking a look at Kitchak, the back end of that. See all the bumpiness on no-name straightaway there. Really bumpy, and these high horsepower cars actually spin the tires over those bumps until they get to the brake shoulder.
Rest of the field cycling through on the climbing turn. There's Dilorio. Boy, he's wasting no time. He is opening up as quick a lead and as big a lead as he can. Maybe he's thinking ahead to having to conserve a little bit.
Well, as an instructor here at the racetrack, he is used to the racetrack. He can do a real hard out lap like that. You were right by calling it earlier. The Mustang brakes, the Mustang tires, they play against it the harder he runs early in the race.
And there is Kitchik, chased by the Viper of Archer, the Corvette of Cooper, your top 4. And right behind them is Biscup on board again with Bobby Archer as we come out of Big Bend and head into the left-hander, which really is a throwaway corner in a sense, isn't it? You're trying to set up to get onto no-name strong.
Yeah, the much more important corner is this right-hander, to carry big speed through that and onto this straightaway. Of course, it multiplies as you go down toward the braking zone. And we have a car off, a spinner already, and that's just in the left-hander.
Yeah, that happened very early. That's number 48, Mike Giglio, and the Alf Racing Mustang Cobra just got away from him.
Yeah, that was the left-hander. He was off to the outside of that, so early attrition there. He's back on the racetrack, though.
And Dilorio opened it up a little bit, but I think you're absolutely right, Dorsey. It hasn't taken long for Kitchik to get back, and maybe Diorio's knowledge of the track paid off in that first lap on the cooler tires, but Kitchik's coming.
Well, the Porsche, of course, is well a balanced car because it has a motor over the rear tires. Rear tires are bigger than the front, so that car probably has some understeer until it gets some front steer. Look at all the shaking and the braking as we ride along the Toyota.
Actually, it was Bill Cooper in the Vette that I was wondering, too. He, as they got to the bottom of the diving turn, went way to the inside, and he really wasn't taking a run on anybody. Interesting line. Meanwhile, Kitchik has caught Dilorio and is applying a lot of pressure. Here's where that Mustang torque pays off. Kitchik couldn't really use the gap to get a run on him, and Dilorio opens it up a bit.
Yeah, now they're going to do the climbing turn right here, and you'll see them both come up here. The Porsche almost pulls a wheelie over the top of that car. Of course, Bobby Archer there in the Viper in third place. Watch them as they go down the downhill, Greg. They're going to come plummeting down the racetrack and onto this very, very, very bumpy front straightaway. I think that's what Cooper's doing. He's trying to avoid the bumps by getting off the outside. The bumps on the outside are horrendous.
Well, there is Archer, and there goes Cooper again. That's what I saw before, and he's not close enough to take a run. So you may be right, looking for a little bit of smooth track, because when we were on board with him last time in the Big Bend, he was getting shook up. Oh, Kitchik off the track. Oh, tires. Got him.
But not hard. That won't have hurt the Porsche, I'm sure. But yes, he got on the outside of Big Bend, got in the gray area, spun the car, got in the grass. It's been raining. It's a little bit wet here, and refire the engine here. He's not going to be stuck because it's not much of a hill right there. I don't think those tires hurt the car. I think they did exactly what they're designed to do, which is dissipate that energy.
Well, we'll get a look at that left side of the car. It looks okay here. Let's go back to the replay, and he just looked like he got it too hot.
Got in there, locked the car up, and got off in the gravel on the outside, then the grass. Once it got in the grass, no stopping it, all the way to the tire barrier. Watch on board right now. He gets caught off by the brake on the Mustang. Gets on the brakes, and the back end steps out. Now he's just along for the ride. Bang. Watch now. He'll get the thing refired. Kills it.
Well, I almost wonder in watching that if he wasn't surprised that Mustang braking a little sooner and harder than he thought, just got in there and had to lock him up.
Well, he got caught out. You're right. As we watch battle up front, that's Bobby Archer. We're riding on board right there in the Viper. He is taking the lead away from Dilorio. There's Dilorio on the outside still.
Boy, Dilorio fighting him strong at the exit of Big Bend on the outside. Archer had to give way, tucks in a second, and Dilorio covers nicely. Do the right-hander on to No Name. Oh, big wiggle from Dilorio as he went to throttle, and that's going to help Archer out. But you said it before, this is a tough place to pass.
Yeah, and more than that, you got to look back in the rearview mirror. You got Cooper back there, so you can't be too aggressive and leave yourself out in the middle, because Cooper will certainly stick that Corvette underneath the Viper given the opportunity.
All right, so local favorite Rick Dilorio leads with Archer second, and Cooper a very racy third. And with Kitchik going off, Biscup now runs in fourth on board with Bobby Archer early in the going here at Lime Rock. Welcome back to Lime Rock Park as Bobby Archer continues to hound Rick Dilorio. And even though Dilorio has a lot of knowledge here at the track, he's not without his worries, apparently, Calvin.
Talking to Rick Dilorio prior to the race, he had two concerns. One was to get a clean start and not be involved in any fracas going down into turn one. He got that job accomplished. The other one was he qualified on sticker tires. He did not get a heat cycle in the tires. He's unfamiliar with these tires, so he spoke to the BFG engineers after qualifying. They said, you may have a problem come race time. They may get a little slick halfway through. So it'll be interesting to see his progress as these laps go down.
Well, Dorsey, that's a very good point. He may have knowledge of the track in his car, but a brand new tire compound and starting on stickers, that could be very problematic.
But what happens with stickers are they run too hot. When you first run them, the first heat cycle you put in on a sticker tire, they get really hot. They'll drop some 20 degrees temperature on the second run. Well, Rick doesn't have much time to do a second run. He's on stickers now. So if they get really hot, over 210 degrees, he'll start squirming around for sure.
So maybe very strong, very good idea by Bobby Archer to hound him mercilessly, keep that pace up, and overheat those tires as much as possible and take a run at him. Also some traffic coming up here. That's a car. It's Terry Lackey who's limping around. So I think he's going to be able, both will be able to slide by nicely. And they do, although Cooper got a run on him. But Bobby Archer working the mission right now. And I'll tell you, this is a guy who's got some experience here at Lime Rock as well, Biz.
Well, talking to Bobby Archer before the start of this race, he was very happy with the way the car performed up in Canada. Of course, they won that race. He likes the Lime Rock track. They finished third here last year. He thought the race would come towards him in the closing laps. Look for a great battle up front, guys.
Well, we are right in the thick of it right now. There's Dilorio in the red Mustang, Archer in the blue Viper, and they have drawn away a little bit again from Bill Cooper, but he closes right up in this section. He's got a great run, Cooper does, through that right-hander.
Yeah, he gets the Corvette through there cleanly, and he makes up the ground a little bit there on Bobby Archer, or Tommy Archer, rather. Dilorio, I think his tires might be going off. I see that thing starting to be a handful as he comes off corners. Looks like it's spinning the tires up on the exits corners.
You know, it's interesting here. We were speculating that this track might really favor the Acuras or perhaps the Porsches a little bit, being momentum, but we got 3 big high horsepower V8s or V10s in the front.
Yeah, but it's still early in the race, and these things tend to go off more gradually. It'll be toward the end. You see Cooper again getting away from the bumps, I think, running down kind of the middle of the racetrack instead of just getting all undulated over there.
You can see the margin from our top 3 back to Biscup, the white and green Porsche right here. He currently runs in the 4th spot. And when he
there was the bumps. You see, it was a we're just talking about the bumps on the outside. He drove it to the outside. You saw him in the brake zone. He almost lost the car as a result of going up and down over the bumps.
He was doing the proverbial flail inside the cockpit to save it.
That was a good save, but you get over there and you brake, and it starts locking up brakes and jumping up and down. There's not much you can do. Real good save right there by George.
Yeah, Biscup drives the Biscup racing machine, and was a bit of a question mark coming into the opener Mosport. Nobody was really real familiar with him, and he was awesome up there, and he continues to impress here. We go a little bit further back. There's Pete Halsmer in the Acura.
All these cars spinning the tires up over the uphill. You hear the engines revving up there.
This Acura, a mid-engine machine, the NSX is, and really strong in the handling department, but still not quite on par horsepower-wise, and it certainly looks right now as we go on board with Pete, that horsepower is what's paying off, at least right now.
Well, the Honda American Racing Team guys have been working with this car. They're really trying to get it a little bit quicker. Pete Halsmer, a very, very experienced race car driver. He's getting the most that he can out of the car. You can bet on that.
We are back at Lime Rock, and Bobby Archer has cleared that traffic, and it took him no time at all to reel in Dilorio once again. Hear that little squeal? That's the brakes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just real hard compound brake pads are running. When he gets on the brakes hard, you hear that little squeal there.
Archer using them very effectively right now and is all over Dilorio, and of course they're coming into some traffic once again. Here's that diving turn and onto that long front straight. And Bobby Archer, he talked about in the open of the show the problems that they had up in Mosport, but Biz, things are going a lot better for the Viper Speed team this weekend here at the Rock.
Well, we just talked to Bobby Archer's crew chief. We're asked what was going on the radio. He says, I've never heard my driver so quiet. They asked him if there's any problems with the car. He says, I only have one problem, a very fast Mustang in front of me. Also, Bill Cooper, don't count him out. He has 8 years of experience in this type of racing. He could be laying back, just keeping everything cool for the closing laps. It's going to be a great shootout, guys.
Well, it's going to be an awesome shootout, and Dorsey Biz mentioned the fact that Cooper very experienced and keeping the car underneath them, and they've been dealing with some temp problems all week, and it's pretty warm today. Is that move down at the bottom of the diving turn way to the inside, is that also maybe helping with air?
Well, it doesn't hurt anything with air, but I don't think that's why he's doing it explicitly. I really think he's just trying to get out the bumps. We've got another spin. I think that's that same car again.
Yeah, number 48, Mike Giglio, is off once again. And that's one of the problems here. If you're mid-pack and you're getting hammered by lapped cars and faster cars as well, you get offline in a hurry.
Well, he was off there. That was the kind of the latter part of Big Bend, or turn 1. Now he's rejoined the race.
He rejoined right in front of Derek Bell and also one of the Zippo cars. And let's take a look at what happened to him, Doris. And he just, he hooked to the outside.
Yeah, actually, and it wasn't turn 1 either. It was actually left-hander that he got off on the outside, hooked across the racetrack, and is now in the ditch over there.
Well, there he is back on track and seemingly okay. Just has to keep his head in the game here. Maybe just calm down, smooth out a little bit, and get back into it. And there we go. We're going to take a look at some action elsewhere in the pack. That's John Heinricy. And right in front of him is Kitchik. And Heinricy, that car is still pretty much a street stock car from Phoenix Motors and Joe Aquilani's team. And they're looking at actually building a car for this championship. They're just trying to get some points on board with Peter Kitchik in the Quad and Toad Hall Porsche. And except for that problem, he is awfully quick.
Yeah, I had a lot of speed on up No Name Straight right there when he passed that car. I mean, that was a staggering amount of speed. This is a good racetrack for the Porsche. These cars are really fast here at London.
One of those situations that when he's alone and doesn't have traffic to work with and he can keep the momentum up with the turbo spooled, these cars are really brilliant here, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a good car for here. It handles the bumps quite well. That's a key issue. It's not as heavy as some of the Corvettes and the Vipers and so forth.
There is Kitchik having a very strong run as he heads into Big Bend. Let's check in with Calvin Fish. He's got some information on Kitchik.
Talking to Peter Kitchak's crew, they believe that the car is fine after his early lap off. They say he's got down to the times that he was running on the first couple of laps, and he's back in the groove and kicking his head down, trying to get it back to the front of the pack.
Problem is, Cal, he lost a lot of ground. He's working by a couple of the slower vets out there, and he definitely is on the move. There's no question. He's just backwards. Oh, Archer taking a move on board, and he got by Dilorio easy.
Too easy. I'm wondering if something went wrong there. Diorio's car looked slow coming off that corner on the downhill. Archer made that pass easily, like you said. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, he was by him almost before they got to the start-finish line, and that's early on that straight.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been some sort of a problem there with the Mustang. But if it was, he's back on it now.
Clear track right now for Bobby Archer. He is in front of Dilorio. The question now is whether he'll drive away from Dilorio or whether Dilorio can stay with him. Let's take a look.
Oh, it's just a perfect downhill run. Like I say, timed it perfect, carried a lot of speed on the downhill, popped out as soon as he got on the flat, and just carried it right down the brake zone.
Well, maybe we're seeing a little bit of what we talked about earlier with those tires of Dilorio just giving up a little bit here, and on that diving turn, grip is everything.
Boy, you back there, the Mustang really hopping around on the bumps. Looked pretty ugly as it came through there. I saw the front wheel had a lot of understeer in it, and then it hit the bumps and loosened it up.
Bobby Archer coming up. There's Paul Brown again. That Mustang still smoking a little bit, and it's obviously costing him in pace. Usually Paul Brown right on the pace, but both of them get through clean. And there's Archer, there's Dilorio. We were talking a little bit about track position here and how Bobby Archer was wanting to get to the front. Derek Bell's been deep in the pack the whole time. And Derek, this track position, you have to be scrapping for huge. Makes the pass around Terry Lackey and the vet. He's basically chasing the car. We're going to see Derek in a lot more as this season unfolds. We'll be right back.
The Speedvision GT Championship is brought to you by Toyota. Get the most of your day every day.
You are on board the Toyota Supra Turbo of '94, Dave Schardt, and he is chasing Reese Cox in that new C5 who snuck around him, and behind him, Peter Kitchik is closing in. Kitchik is absolutely flying back around this pack.
Yeah, he's done a good job of catching everybody back up. He's driving that Porsche quite hard after he went off down there in turn one. See down the diving turn right now, a lot of G-forces there. He's back in the draft now. He's in the slipstream. So, look at that. Big smoke. Something just went back in.
You can hear his crew say, "You're smoking heavy." They noticed it as well, and he immediately, well, when the crew tells you that, you immediately get out of the throttle and get offline and try and then assess the situation. He is venting out of the engine right there.
Yeah, look at the bottom. There's a vent tube that's coming out of there, and it's pumping straight oil. It's pumping it onto something, and that's going to make for an awfully slippery racetrack for the guys behind Mr. Kitchik.
Kitchik just trying to nurse it around, get it back into the pits, but boy, a lot of the space he's at right now, he's right on line, Doris.
Yeah, he's running on line, and he's spewing a lot of fluids there, it looks like.
Ride with Peter Kitchik right now as that's into the climbing turn.
I was listening there for the engine. It still sounds like it's running on all six. Sounds fine, but he's offline now. You see he's pulled offline.
And there's Bobby Archer still hanging on over Dilorio.
Oh, I just saw the oil flag. Do you see the oil flag at corner worker right there? That's the debris flag or oil flag. So obviously Kitchik is losing a lot of fluid in the racetrack. Look at that. Archer went wide. I think he got in the oil. He's just lost the lead.
Or did he get in the oil, or was he trying to avoid the oil, and Dilorio just decided to drive through it?
Well, one or the other. He pulled
a slick down the front straight into turn one.
There you go. See, the drivers are complaining right now. Huge oil slick in the turn one. I don't know if Bobby tried to drive around it, or if he slid and went to the outside, but it left an opening. Rick Dilorio took the opportunity and now leads again.
Yeah, you heard Pete Halsmer informing his crew that there's a big problem into turn one, and I think it continues all the way around the track. There's a lot of problems out there.
Man, there's a ton of oil out here, guys.
That's drivers telling the crew. Look at this. Look at the different lines down the downhill. Archer to the inside, ran all the way down the inside to avoid the oil. Now he's got the inside of turn 1, but there's oil down here, remember.
Boy, there's that brake squeal again, so he's obviously on him pretty hard into this section. Dilorio, boy, if anybody knows the rain line around this track, and if the oil's down in the dry, that might not be a bad plan, and it's certainly working for him right now. Scotty White and the vet was that last voice you heard, and they are very concerned about the quantity of oil out there.
Well, it's not too bad, the oil, if you can see it, but if you can't see it, and sometimes you can't because the sun glares on the shiny surface of the road, then you're really, really in trouble because you'll be driving in. If you can see it, yeah, I can see it right there. See it on the uphill?
Yeah, easily.
These guys all go to the inside of that. They can see it.
Smart move there. There is the, that's another of the Toyota Super Turbos. That's Peter Tonelli and John Heinricy in the Pontiac right behind him.
Now, the other thing that happens is that people drive through the oil, they spread it across the surface, so you don't get to see it after it's spread, but you certainly can feel it.
Tonelli, boy, he goes way out wide, and Heinricy takes a look. And not enough there, and Tonelli is going to hang on, at least on to No Name. That's a pretty strong run once again by Heinricy. If you remember the coverage of Mosport, if you saw it, he was unbelievable in the opening laps until he had an off.
Right in the oil. They just went right through the oil that time. So,
yeah. Look at this. Oh, Archer, the back stepped out as he went to throttle there, Doris. He wants back around Dilorio now bad.
Yeah, but now they got a really slippery racing surface. You're seeing all these cars now trying to make some funny lines to stay out of the oil. When you got to pass somebody, you got to go somewhere to pass, and usually that means you're going to go right into the oil. It's pretty bad up here on the uphill turn. We'll see it. See if you can see it through the windshield here. Not quite.
Now they both get through. We can see there's that line right there. Oh, and Archer maybe got a tire in it and skipped sideways a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the uphill. You can also get real launched there going out the outside like that. Drop his left wheels in the dirt. Here's the diving turn.
Well, he sure didn't lose any ground with that little drop of the tires here as he is back and covering Dilorio big, and oh, he got a run.
Good run, tracks it out real well, gets the big pop down the straightaway. No problem normally, but remember the brakes and braking zone is pretty slippery down there with the oil.
He's trying to wedge it inside here.
Right in front of them is George Biskup in the Porsche.
And boy, they're getting caught up in this. Here comes Dilorio. Getting around that car.
You can hear the BF Goodrich tires screaming away. They're squealing tires are happy tires, so they're happy today.
I think that Porsche they just walked by or worked by was Danny Marshall in the 08 car. Looks exactly like Biskup's car, which may have surprised them a little bit. They may have thought he was a little quicker, thinking it was Biskup, but they finally sneaked through clean. And now they're closing in on one of the Zippo Mustangs. That's another of the street stock class that they're just trying to get some points while they get their cars completed. The Speedvision GT Championship is really generating some interest among manufacturers. And a lot of people are in there just basically killing time till they can get their cars built and try and get some points.
Yeah, these cars are heavily modified cars. It's not an overnight process to make a race car out of a street car. So a lot of these teams are undergoing that process right now, building up the real race car, running a modified street car, less modified than the race car will be. Oh, did you see the wiggle right there with Archer? Archer got into the oil, had a big slide right in the middle of that corner. Did a good job of saving. And, of course, he's an ice racer, so he's used to that.
And I think he was thinking of using that Zippo Mustang as a pick. He was trying to take a run, but just didn't quite get it done. We go a little bit further in the pack, and here is that battle. There is Reese Cox, number 98 in the vet, and then Schardt, and then here's Kitchik. A lot of smoke, but, I mean, he's still out there.
Well, I can't believe he's still out there. You're right, Greg. That thing, I thought it blew a motor or something. We saw it venting oil pretty heavily, and but it quit smoking, which means either it fixes up or it's out of oil, and I think it's probably just the latter.
That means that his days are probably numbered. If it's out of oil, it might run for a little bit, but wonders how long. But boy, he's certainly not losing much ground. Here we are back on board with Archer at the exit of the diving turn. This time he gets that move made a lot sooner.
Oh yeah, he had that one really good. Good clean. There's a lap car. He's pinching the lap car. So he's going to rub Dilorio off on the lap car if he has to.
Boy, you can tell though, Diorio's car seems very strong on the brakes. And even though Archer was alongside, under braking, he was able to make it tough.
That was good racing back there. You know, they saw the lap car, and oh, look at that. Dilorio with the big mega slide. Good car control. Of course, if he spun that car, he'd lose his job with Skip Barber by morning. So he caught that one, though.
I am absolutely stunned. He saved that. And it cost him a lot of time, obviously. There we are again watching that battle with Cox, Schardt, and Kitchik. And it's amazing that Kitchik is still out there. And I don't see him venting anything anything at this point, and the way that car was running, he did not stop at the pits.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at that because we saw it losing a lot of oil, and we saw the oil on the racetrack, and the pit guys called him on the radio. We heard that. But for some reason, he hasn't stopped at the pits, and that car's still running.
And running competitively at that, he is really glued to the back of Schardt's bumper. Calvin, it's very surprising that Kitchik has not stopped in the pits. What's up?
Just like a football coach arguing the official's decision, David Moore went to work with Peter Kitchak. You really felt that the meatball flag, the mechanical flag was unnecessary. He spoke to Mick Trite, and he reversed the decision.
Yeah, it didn't look very bad, and it cleared itself up, and, you know, because you're out. I think we got a break. It took a little smart course about last weekend, putting it on a roof. So hopefully this week, got a lot to catch up. He spun early. We need a yellow, man.
Okay, they need a yellow, as you suggested, guys.
Well, Dorsey, they dodged a bullet. Indeed, if they had been black flagged, that would have been it.
I don't think they have dodged a bullet, though. I'm seeing whiffs of smoke still coming out the back of the push. I saw it in the straightaway, and I just saw it again just right there in the corner. So whatever it was or whatever it is, I think he still has a problem that's not going to fix itself. Race cars don't fix themselves.
Well, he was able to get by Schardt, though, so whatever the problem is, it doesn't seem to be affecting his speed all that much. He is now past Schardt and trying to do something with Reese Cox as they climb up that turn. And he's taking a look at him. Cox, whoa, I thought he was going to close the door, but Cox let him through.
That's him through cleanly with no problem. I find all that pretty surprising. You know, that Porsche is still running really, really well. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I am leery of that thing finishing the race with all that oil that it left.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on that, obviously. Here's Cox, and there is Schardt. That is a great battle a little bit further back as well. Now that, oh, look at that. Kitchik cleared him, and he is drawn away. And here is Derek Bell, and he's taking a look at some traffic as well as he works through the pack. And there is that battle between Heinricy and Tonelli. And so it doesn't matter where you are on this track, apparently. You're finding somebody to race with. Some great battles throughout the pack on board, looking backwards from Derek Bell. Welcome back to Lime Rock, the Speedvision GT Championship Round 2, and it looks like Bobby Archer, Dorsey, has opened that up a little bit now over Dilorio, and he's got himself a little breathing room.
Yeah, that's the biggest gap we've seen all day. Dilorio really falling off badly now. Maybe it's the tires like we talked about before, the fact that he had to go out on stickers, but big gap.
Wow, and Archer gets a break with that lap traffic. But Calvin Fish, it's possible it's not just tires, I understand.
Rear tire temperatures may be a problem for Rick Dilorio, but right now, even more so, is the engine temperature. He's reaching a 240-degree mark on the temperature gauge. They like to run about 220, so he's decided to back the pace off a little bit, see if he can get those temperatures back down, and then make a charge towards the end of the race.
That looks like a crew with a little concern on their faces, Doris.
240 on water temp is awfully hot. That usually won't come back down from there. Oh, boy, lock-up brakes in turn 1. That poor car's been in trouble a couple times already. They've got oil smoke. It's going to be pretty slippery out there, I would think.
Well, of course, his oil and Kitchik's as well.
Mustang hit me.
That was Kitchik, and you now know why he was suddenly. Look at the left front corner. There's some serious damage there, and we know why. Let's take a look at the onboard, Doris.
They said Mustang hit him. Sure enough, the Zippo car turned in. He was inside of the Zippo car. I guess the guy didn't see him there and took off his right front fender.
Boy, just shut the door firmly, and Kitchik able to recover pretty quickly. But all that work he did to get up by a couple of... Oh, Tonelli has spun now on the exit of the diving turn.
That's a dangerous place to leave your race car sitting broadside, I'll tell you. He wants to be getting out of there right now.
But, oh, there goes Archer. He elected to go around the outside. There is some room. There's Dilorio. And, oh, Cooper gets caught up behind a couple of cars in there. Tonelli gets it going, lights him up, and is back and underway. But, boy, if you're going to spin there, you want to end up scrubbing speed and stopping on track, then go off the outside.
Well, he didn't hit anything. That's the good news. I think there's our oiler. That's why the racetrack's so slippery, that smoky car right there. But to get sideways, and look, Diorio's in trouble. Did you see the smoke? I think his oil temperature or water temperature just bit him.
On a smart move, he pulled well off the track, as far out of harm's way in terms of an impact zone. He knows apparently that is a terminal failure, and he just wants to get it parked. Well, now he's moving again.
Yeah, he's got it up and running again, but I sure saw smoke over there when he pulled it off the racetrack. Now he's going through. Oh, Heinricy off on the downhill now. Must be oil on the racetrack, Greg, because that's he doesn't make that kind of mistake often.
Not very often, and he did a brilliant save. Lap car Marshall. There's the BMW of our Legends driver, Derek Bell. And here comes Archer. And now he's got a pretty comfortable lead in hand. Let's watch what happened here to Heinricy. He just ran up behind that Porsche. I think it surprised him.
Boy, he went to the outside of the Porsche to pass and ran completely out of the room. Look at the corner worker stepping back. He said, uh-oh, that's a lot of car coming at me. Good save as he got it back on the racetrack, but I think you might be right. He might have been caught out by how slow that Porsche was running.
It's a nice move by Danny Marshall once he realized where Heinricy was to move over and give him room to get back on. And Heinricy did the right thing by keeping his foot in it. And that car continues. John Heinricy, one very experienced driver. When they get their program put together and they have a car up to GT specs, he's going to be spectacular.
Well, he'll be a contender for sure. This car's nowhere near a GT spec car, but he gets the most out of it. Very experienced in this car. He's done many, many endurance championships with that same car.
Right behind him is Derek Bell in the Speedvision Legends of Motorsports car, coming right at you as he heads down that long diving turn. Back on board with Derek, taking a look at that battle going on behind him. And here's what it looks like from the back going into Big Bend. We'll be back at Lime Rock. Racing at Lime Rock Park on Memorial Day weekend is a tradition. One man who's been around for most of those weekends is our own Sam Posey.
I've driven just about everything at Lime Rock, starting with a Formula V, which was my first car, Volkswagen powered thing, right up to Formula 5000 cars and Can-Am cars. But probably my biggest success at the track was winning the Trans Am there in 1969 for Carroll Shelby with the Mustang. But it's been fun to have a track that I know very well sort of provide a base to try many different types of cars on.
A name closely related to Lime Rock Park is Sam Posey, and besides his incredible racing career and his great work with F1 commentating on Speedvision, he has so many diverse interests away from the track.
I think the happiest times of my life have been ones where I've had a challenge, where I was in the steep part of the learning curve. You know, which is why I think I've undertaken so many different kinds of things.
Some of the activities that have challenged him in recent years include the writing of books and designing single-family houses. But perhaps the most satisfying work that Sam has done came when Lime Rock Park owner Skip Barber asked him to design new buildings at the track, including the Michelin building.
Looking down at the track and seeing the buildings, I can't describe the thrill. It's so... thrill is maybe the wrong word. The satisfaction, the sense of a dream come true. It's way beyond anything I hoped for. It's a great privilege to have had this place where it is and to have been able to take really an outrageous advantage of the scene from the very beginning.
You can catch Sam and the rest of Speedvision's Formula One crew on our coverage of the French Grand Prix the weekend of June 26th and 27th. You look at the number 47 Zippo Ford Mustang of Gary Smith, and he's moving over, pointing by Derek Bell, but he lost some momentum big, and here's why.
Downhill corner, gets in the slipperiness again. Big spin, snaps it around. He's done a 360, has not hit anything, so he'll continue on.
That's
Here's
the old
Derek
Rockford
Bell.
save.
Oh, Derek's locked his brakes up. Look, he's going off.
Just pulled the front brakes off my wheel.
Well, a little emotion there from Derek Bell as he's bringing it back on.
My sentiments exactly. He got out there. That's off. Here's Kitzik. Kitzik is off the racetrack. He's off. I think this time his day is done.
Boy, he's pulling over and stopping, and it's not good at all. You're not seeing a lot of smoke out of the back of that car, but that may be because, as you said, there's nothing left.
Well, you look at it, that fender from the earlier incident.
Well, here's the onboard. Let's see what happened.
Oh, missed a gear. He's dead. He missed a gear. You heard it.
Gearbox just let go, David.
Oh, he didn't miss a gear. He didn't have a gear left. You heard the engine wind up. It snapped a gear, snapped the shaft of the transmission. His day is over.
Welcome back to Lime Rock Park, and it's time for our Sears Die Hard race reset. And as we're getting right down near the end of this one, it's Bobby Archer leading. There have been 3 lead changes, and it's been either Archer or Dilorio, and they have put on a fine show. Dilorio now has problems. He's out, as is Peter Kitchik, a couple of the front runners. And Archer leads. There's Derek Bell, but there's Cooper. And, well, I'll tell you what, even though Cooper's back there a little bit, Doris, Bobby can't be that comfortable.
No, he's not comfortable at all. The racetrack's really greasy and slimy. Everybody's spinning out, crashing all around him. lap cars to have to be dealt with too right there in front of him. Yeah, he can't let the guard down, not yet.
And there is Bill Cooper in that number 75 vet. And as we said, at Mosport, he had that Pirate Racing car awfully quick. He had mechanical problems, but he seems to be minding things, minding the store, as it were, very nicely.
Minding is exactly what you do at Lime Rock. You mind your manners, mind your business, and you try to drive, as clean as you can. Let things come to you. Don't force issues.
And Cooper now is going to have to work through that same group of traffic that Archer just went through. Here's some battling a little bit further back in the pack. There is Biskup, who has very quietly, Dorsey, worked his way into a very solid third.
Yeah, George Biskup, of course, we thought that was him earlier, but it wasn't. It was a car that painted just like him. George has been out of trouble all day. There's the white flag, meaning 1 lap to go. So right now, Archer telling himself to be calm. Don't worry about this traffic. Don't rush things. Don't make a mistake. And you got this one in the bag. It's only a 56-second lap. So he'll be talking to himself this last lap, I guarantee you.
And being very careful in traffic. Nice move there by one of the vets. And he knows he's got this one covered, as you said, if he's just smart about it. Cooper's second. And with Biskup, that quiet run to third, remember, he had a second at Mosport. He is really looking strong in terms of the points if he can hang on here. But Archer going for his second straight. And for a program that came together, a little lock up there by that vet, or that Mustang again, for a program that came together as late as this one, if Archer wins 2 in a row, that's huge.
Yeah, that's the stuff that scares you on the last lap. See the car in front of you locked down, all of a sudden a bunch of smoke come up. You don't know what it is yet. And all you want to do is get home to this place right here.
There he goes. He moves clear of that car, and Bobby Archer hangs on and takes win number 2 straight for that Viper Speed team. Remarkable achievement for Bobby Archer. There is Cooper hanging on for a strong second place. Nice job, and boy, he just did it right. Took very good care of that car, and Biskup indeed takes third.
These guys all stayed out of trouble. They don't have anything wrong with their race cars, so they can race again next week. That's what you want to do on these long ones. Here's Pete Halsmer bringing the ACURA NSX across the line.
There is Halsmer, and a nice run by Halsmer, and there is Dilorio. He had that problem. Looked like he was going to park for the day, then eased it back onto the track. Whatever it was, he kept it under him, and it has a 5th.
Well, maybe the thing overheated, and he just sat and let it cool. I don't know, but he definitely has a run again.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise, but a good run by the local favorite. And so Bobby Archer, as he's enjoying the spoils of victory, the wave to the crowd around the track. There is Cooper behind him. Bobby Archer, whoa, a little wide on the cool-down lap. We'll be back to talk to Bobby and the rest of the gang.
The Speedvision GT Championship has been brought to you by BMW. Find true love. See the complete line of BMWs at your BMW Center.
Bobby Archer, 2 for 2, but it looks like patience really won you this one today, Bobby.
Well, we're going to take a little credit for our smarts on this one. We decided to race in the same tires we used last week, and we knew that the pole sitter had started on sticker tires. So it's my job just to run him into the ground until his tires went away, and our tires were just perfect. They were consistent every single lap, and we could see he's starting to slip and slide, and I just kept on the pressure. The car was running hot, but we saw we had a little bit of cushion, and we gambled on it, and it worked. I mean, how many times do you win a race or 2 races on the same set of tires nowadays?
That is a remarkable testament to the BF Goodrich tires this series runs on. Let's take a look at our final standings. Bobby Archer the win, 2 in a row for him. Cooper a strong second. Biskup a very solid third. Halsmer strong showing for the ACURA. Dilorio, bit of a surprise there to come home in 5th. And we take a look at the rest of the running order. Schardt, Cox, Heinricy, White. Some great drives there. Derek Bell ended up 10th.
Good day for Derek, coming from dead last with a car that had a lot of problems. He persevered, and will do so for the rest of the year, we hope.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hear a lot from our Legends drivers. A gentleman that put in an awesome drive was Bill Cooper, and again, we watched him making some unusual moves early. Bill Cooper, mighty savvy, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And right now, Biz has caught up with our second-place finisher.
Bill Cooper is climbing out of the car, and I think he's a little bit happy to get out of this thing. It's like a steam bath in there, Bill. Looks like this race came to an end just in time for you with all that steam coming out from underneath the hood.
Oh, yeah, we were overheating pretty much from the halfway point, which is a problem with the ZR1s. We know that. But before that, my real problem was I ran out of brakes. But Les Stanford Chevrolet just did a great job here. The crew did a wonderful job. We'll just come back and try and get him next time.
Well, congratulations. He had a fine 4th-place finish up in Canada just a week ago, and he's on the way to Mid-Ohio.
Great run by Cooper, and that puts him second in the points, as you see, behind Archer, but he is only one clear of Biscup, then Schardt and Halsmer, and manufacturer points, Viper.
Yeah, and he's got a new race car being built. He can't wait to get that, I guarantee you. He knows it'll be a better car than what he's got now. It certainly should.
Absolutely great racing here at Lime Rock. We'd like you to join us in 2 weeks' time for our coverage of Round 3 from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. For Dorsey Schrader, John Bizignano, Calvin Fish, I'm Greg Creamer, Bobby Archer celebrating at Victory Circle at Lime Rock. We'll see you next time right here on Speedvision. Thanks for joining us. Take care, everybody.